Welcome back to the Blissful Athlete, everybody. Thank you for tuning in. Before we get started in today's video, I just want to say yes, my microphone is attached to my Jetta, so hopefully the audio still sounds good for you. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about 8 powerful pranayama techniques that you could be practicing if you are currently wanting to awaken your Kundalini, awaken your third eye, or really take your meditation and your yoga practice to the next level. And if you're somebody that's already practicing the Prathama Vinyasa Krama, the 108 asana sequence revealed by my guru, Bhagavan Sri Nithyananda Paramashivam, then you're in luck, because in this video, I'm gonna be going over the same exact 8 pranayamas that are used throughout the 108 asana sequence. But first, if you're new to the channel, please click the subscribe button, hit the bell icon, and you will not miss out on any further videos that I release, which is going to be covering everything and anything regarding yoga, yoga philosophy, health and wellness, and so much more. As I said, in this video, we're going to be going over 8 powerful pranayama techniques, all, of course, coming with scriptural references. So anything that we do in Nityananda Yoga is coming with a scriptural reference, whether it's the asanas, the mudras, the bandhas, and of course, yes, the pranayamas as well. And so in this video, I'm going to be giving those scriptural references along with each technique as we go along. Now, before we jump into the actual 8 pranayamas, I just want to talk a little bit about the specifics of what is pranayama. Unfortunately, with a lot of Sanskrit texts today, the way that the books are translated, they're not pure, they're not completely transparent. And the way Patanjali was speaking anyways, he's speaking in such a way that only an enlightened being can translate and truly understand and cognize, oh, this is what Patanjali is saying, and then give that translation in the English language. So it's really important, actually, that I would say you listen to these translations that I'm going to give you, because they're all coming from enlightened beings, including my guru as well. So I promise you, you're not going to get a mixed translation anywhere in here. Now, first, let's start off with what is prana. A lot of us probably know that it is the life energy. It is all around us. It is pervading us. Whether it's the food, the air, anything that we're consuming, we're actually consuming the life energy. That's what's most important, not necessarily the oxygen or the nutrients, but the life energy that is coming with those substances. That is prana. Now, prana can be inhaled through oxygen. It could be a part of food, the foods that we eat as well. However, prana can be absorbed just from the state of being. And when you're not breathing, that's when it's most potent. And this is where the translations are so important, specifically when we're looking at the Patanjali Yoga Sutras. For those of you who do not know as well, he is not necessarily the founder of yoga, as many people believe, because there's a number of different scriptural texts and references, some that you'll learn of today, that speak about yoga much beyond or much earlier than Patanjali actually brings it up. But Patanjali is still a very prominent individual in the yoga community, an incredible enlightened sage, and the world today of yoga owes so much to his incarnation on this planet. Now, with that being said, the definition of pranayama, as translated by my guru, is the practice of breathing without the awakening of thoughts. This means that the more thoughts that we have, the less prana that we're able to absorb. But vice versa, the less thoughts that we have, the more prana we are able to absorb. So pranayama is really about calming the mind so we can absorb all of the prana that is available to us. Now, once that prana goes into our body, there's something called vayu, so different governing bodies of prana. So for instance, apana vayu is the downward flow of prana, so it's flowing out of you, and this is released through our excretion, such as urine and feces. There's samana vayu, which is basically transmitting the prana throughout the body. Like this, there's a bunch of different dimensions or uses or aspects of prana once it's in the body. In this video, I'm not going to dive into that. We're going to stick specifically with these 8 pranas, but just know that after you inhale this life energy, it does have different tasks or purposes once it's in our body as well. And just a couple more things before we get into the 8 pranayama techniques. The one question is, why should we even bother be doing pranayama? Okay, I understand it's life energy, but what's the purpose? What is the benefits of it? And again, we're going to look to the scriptural text, the scriptural references for this. For instance, in the Srimad Sarvajnana Uttaragama, it says that by the practice of pranayama, breathing life energy without thoughts getting awakened, the sadhaka incinerates all the defilements. And this basically means that we're able to exhale and get rid of all of the toxins within us, all of the negative energies, a lot of the bile within our system, the phlegm that carries a lot of bacteria. All of this is able to be pushed out of the body, squeezed out of the body through pranayama techniques, through breathing techniques. Now, what are the benefits of this? Well, in the Hatha Ratnavali, it says that even the gods like Brahma are able to overcome death through pranayama. There's also a slew of other benefits of pranayama, such as powers being awakened, or siddhis, shaktis, various different abilities such as awakening the Kundalini and awakening the third eye. These are all benefits of pranayama, so there's more than just one reason to do it, but ultimately what we need to understand is that it's a tool and a powerful technique for us to realign our identity to Paramashivatva, that I am Paramashiva, I am the creator of the cosmos, I am the divine. As we practice pranayama more and more, we're able to take on more life energy, we're able to increase the awakening of the Kundalini Shakti, and we're able to access higher states of consciousness. And again, the more you practice this, the closer it leads you to more and more bliss. Just like in that moment, just thinking about it, all of a sudden Kundalini awakening happens for me and I get really blissful. This is all because of the practice of pranayama. And as I alluded to earlier, there's different methods or components of pranayama as well. And these are what are known as puraka, so the inhalation, Recaka, which is the exhalation, and then kumbhaka, which is the holding or retention of the air. Now there's two different types of kumbhaka as well. There's the one where you exhale and then you're holding, and then there's an inhalation and then holding and retaining the air as well. Now, if you're practicing the 108 Prathama Vinyasa Krama sequence, then what you need to understand is that kumbhaka is maybe the most important component of the pranayama dimension that's in the Nithyananda yoga class. So once we inhale or once we exhale, holding kumbhaka, holding the prana, holding our breath, it's that dimension that really activates the Kundalini. Now, one last note before you jump into any pranayama technique, the kumbhaka, as I said, is so important. And one thing that a lot of people miss out on, which you wouldn't if you looked to the scriptural references of this technique, is how you hold the kumbhaka. In the Darshana Upanishad, it clearly states that when you hold the kumbhaka, you should be holding it at the tip of the nose, the belly button, and then the toes. And those yogis, or those sadhakas that practice this, live for hundreds of years and are beyond or free of all diseases. So remember, when you're inhaling or when you're holding kumbhaka, the prana, imagine the prana being held at the tip of the nose, the belly button, and the toes, so throughout the whole body. This visualization itself, it literally takes the dimension of pranayama to the next level. Okay, with that being said, let's start diving into those 8 pranayama techniques. And the first one, and also the first pranayama of the Prathama Vinyasa Krama, is Samana kumbhaka. Samana kumbhaka comes from the kumbhaka padati, and in this technique, it clearly states that you should inhale up to the navel and hold the concentration on fire. So even in the first 8 or so asanas of the Prathama Vinyasa Krama, you're seated on the floor, but when you're going through this process, you're visualizing the gastric fire, you're visualizing the fire within you, heating up and kindling the Kundalini. Just this visualization itself is enough to awaken the heat within the body, and you can start sweating just while you're seated down itself. Now, of course, you sweat because of the bandhas that you're engaging as well, and so this visualization or technique is very powerful at kindling the Kundalini. Now, the second pranayama is Sahaja kumbhaka, and this is basically easy breathing. Sahaja means simple or easy. So in this technique, all we're doing is inhaling nice and calmly through the nose, and you're holding the breath just as long as you feel comfortable. You don't need to be sweating or feel like you're about to pop. You can just hold the air comfortably within you and then release whenever you want. And in the Kumbhaka Padati, it says that the practice of Sahaja Kumbhaka awakens the mystical sounds, so hearing of mystical sounds. It also clears out and helps purify the body, but the most interesting benefit for me is hearing of mystical sounds. So clairaudience is very real. This is a way of awakening that power just by inhaling, holding the breath comfortably, and exhaling. Now the third pranayama comes from the Hatha Ratnavali, and this is maybe the most interesting pranayama technique, as it is defined as forcefully inhaling to the sound of a male bee and then exhaling slowly to the sound of a female bee. And so what does a male bee sound like and a female bee sound like? The best way I could describe it is basically like the snoring sensation as you're inhaling, that rough, rigid sound, as opposed to the exhalation where it's more of a light, softer sound. So there's less restriction in that exhalation as opposed to the inhalation. Now the benefit of this is that it fills the yogi's mind with an exceptional feeling. Again, this is the scriptural reference. So just by humming, the slight and subtle humming of a bee sound, it fills the mind with an exceptional feeling. Now this technique can be done really loudly, as it is in the Nitya Dhyan meditation, or it could be done very subtly, which is the way that it's done in the Prathama Vinyasa Krama. So just remember when you're doing Bhramari kumbhaka to be subtly humming and really feeling and noticing the vibration that's happening within the body also and within the mind. Now the next pranayama is Recaka kumbhaka. And yes, as I said at the beginning, Recaka is exhalation. So in this pranayama technique, it's actually just the controlled exhalation of the breath. And as you control and slowly exhale out the air, this is also the form of the kumbhaka. And in the kumbhaka padati, it says by the practice of controlling the exhale, one controls all of the vayus. Now remember, the vayus are the different governing bodies of prana once it's within the system or within the body. And so if you can control all of the vayus, then it says that you can control all of the results, meaning you control your reality. You are becoming extremely empowered. You do not need to consume food. You do not need to consume anything. You could be living off of prana if you have full control of the vayu. Just imagine like being able to pee and then sucking the pee back up within your body. That is a power, that is a shakti that it comes from controlling all of the vayus within the body. So by controlling the exhalation of the breath, you are learning to control all of the matter within you and matter that goes out of you through the apana vayu. Now the next pranayama is Sitkari pranayama, which also comes from the kumbhaka padati. And in this translation, it says that turning the tongue upwards and producing the sound sit, inhale the air. After holding the breath, exhale through both the nostrils while making frictional sounds. Concentrate on the tongue pressed and the sound along with the prana. This is called Sitkari kumbhaka, which contributes to all the accomplishments. With the practice of Sitkari kumbhaka, one controls Cupid, god of love, and becomes handsome. It helps controlling hunger, sleep, laziness, diseases, and one becomes free from all the problems of health. The yogi enjoys the multitude of powers like creation. So this is an extremely powerful pranayama, as it clearly states in the kumbhaka padati. And then this brings us to our next pranayama, which is Sitali pranayama. And in this pranayama, you do press the tongue against the back of the teeth as opposed to against the roof of the mouth. So when you're inhaling, you're also inhaling through the mouth, but this time tongue is pressed against the teeth. So in Sitkari, the tongue is pressed up against the roof of the mouth, and in Sitali, with an L, the tongue is pressed against the back of the teeth. Now, Sitali pranayama comes from the Hatha Tattva Kumari, and in this it says that you should exhale also through the nose, so you're inhaling and then exhaling through the nose, but you should really focus on the sensation at the tip of the fingernails. So you're really focusing on the prana throughout the entire body, not just the tip of the nose, but also the tips of the fingernails, it says. And this brings us to our seventh pranayama technique, which is a very popular technique known as Bhastrika pranayama. Now with Bhastrika, there's a lot of confusion with how to actually do it. Now I'm not going to give you the technique myself. I'm going to give you the technique as per the Shastra Pramana, what Paramashiva, the creator of yoga himself, in the Yoga Upanishad says for what the technique is in Bhastrika pranayama or Bhastrika kumbhaka. So the Akashic revelation for Bhastrika kumbhaka states that the practitioner should intelligently expel with speed the air in the body out of the two breaths and fill it in likewise. So this means you're expelling the air and then filling it in the lungs as well at the same distance or the same pace until you are overcome with fatigue. Ultimately, this removes the excess of the mind and the bile, the phlegm. It raises the temperature of the body, which is arousing the Kundalini, and it removes the defects in the mouth. It bestows auspiciousness, helps you become wholesome, removes impediments. It does so much for the body, and when incorporated with the bandhas, it helps you pierce through all of the chakras as well. And much like the Yoga Upanishad, the Yoga Kundalini Upanishad is also a Shastra Pramana. Means this is also coming from Paramashivam himself, the creator of the cosmos, the creator of yoga. And in the Yoga Kundalini Upanishad, it clearly states in the Akashic revelation, you should expel the vital air through the nose in such a way that it occupies with a noise the cranium from the throat. You should then fill in a little air up to the lotus of the heart, and he should again expel it as before and fill it in again and again. So this is a really important point. It's not necessarily exhaling through just the nose. You're actually exhaling with the sound coming from the back of the throat or the cranium of the throat. So a good way to test this is put your finger beneath your nose and try and blow air onto your finger through your nose. That's not the way to do it if you're feeling the air. But now exhale and see if you can do it without blowing any air onto your finger. If you're able to do that, that is the proper technique to perform Bhastrika. And all you're going to do is continuously perform that again and again and again. And it's a short burst. And remember, just like in the Yoga Upanishad, it states that you should do this likewise and again and again and again until you experience fatigue. Again, likewise means inhaling back in through the nose, but it's more of a natural inhalation at the same rate as the exhalation as well. That is how you perform Bhastrika. And as you do this, the stomach is going to be pulled in and upward. So I know you can't see my stomach right now, but all that's going to be happening is you're going to push the stomach in and up in short little bursts. Okay, so that's something that you should really be practicing in order to get, and really like all of these other pranayama techniques, it's something that you just need to practice consistently to, one, understand what the technique is truly, and then two, to really gain the experience and the benefits of these pranayama. Now, finally, we've arrived at the 8th pranayama, which is Murccha kumbhaka, or also known as Manu Murccha kumbhaka. And in this kumbhaka, it is specifically a part of a bandha, which is Jalandhara bandha. So when you're locking your chin, tucking the chin down and pressing it up against the throat and holding your breath with that bandha engaged, that is Murccha kumbhaka. Now in this kumbhaka, you can also be exhaling as well. So you can have Jalandhara bandha locked and slowly exhale at the same time. Now this pranayama is actually only in one asana in the entire 108 asanas in the Prathama Vinyasa Krama, and it comes with the 107th asana, which is Unmukha Pitta 2. So what you'll be doing is lying on your back, your feet are flat on the ground, you're pressing your hips up into the air, and you're tucking your chin down as your shoulder blades are on the ground as well, and you're holding that lock, Jalandhara bandha, and you can slowly exhale, and that is how you perform Murccha kumbhaka. And that's it. We've made it through all 8 pranayama techniques. Again, this is something that you really have to practice to understand and really know what the scriptural references are talking about, and really gain the benefits of, for instance, controlling all of the values within the body. If you want to control all of the values within the body, that is much more than just building muscle. Building strength is easy. That's one dimension within the body. But to really control all of these different life energies within our system, that takes integrity and it takes discipline to the practice of pranayama as well, and being consistent and incorporating it with a lot of different yoga techniques as well. For instance, if you're not vegetarian, if you're not practicing yoga on a daily basis, if you're not practicing various different meditation techniques, then you're just not going to get the same benefits that you really could be. But if you're interested in incorporating all of these real and authentic yogic techniques, then that's what Nithyananda Yoga is all about. And so if you're interested in learning more about Nithyananda Yoga, the Prathama Vinyasa Krama, which is the 108 asana sequence, whether it's the pranayamas, the bandhas, or all of the 12 components of what yoga should be in general, then I'll put a link down in the description box below where you can check out some more information and even learn more about our classes that we have to offer for free. So with that being said, I hope you all enjoyed the video. I actually loved doing this topic. I did a video on bandhas recently as well, so if you want to learn more about the bandhas and how to perform them properly, that would be a good video that you could watch next also. And with this, I'm going to actually lead into the other dimensions, the other components within the Nithyananda Yoga sequences as well. So keep an eye out for that. And if you want to know when I release those videos, then of course you need to subscribe and hit the bell icon. Then you'll get notified for when those videos get released. If you guys enjoyed this video, then please let me know in the comments section down below. I really do love getting feedback from you. So if you're enjoying some content that I'm putting out specifically, then let me know, and I would love to get back to you and connect with you all as well. Thank you for tuning in, everybody. I truly hope you enjoyed the video, and as always, be blissful. We'll see you on the next one. Nithyananda.